Hello, good morning to all. Welcome to biology class. So today we are going to start our new lesson, that's the fundamental unit of life. So in the last day I had given a small introduction about the chapter. So what is the fundamental unit of life? Yes, that is called a cell. Cell is the structural and functional unit of life that we all know because that we studied from 8th standard. Okay. We know that in our planet Earth, a number of living organisms are there. All these organisms look different from each other, but all of them are made up of very microscopic units called cells. These microscopic units, these are known as the structural and functional unit of living organism. So we have to study, in this chapter we are going to study about the basic structure or fine ultra structure of the cell. What are the contents present in the cell? What is the cell made of? Okay, so we know what are the main parts of the cell that we studied from the 8th standard. Okay, so in this chapter we will study something more about the discovery of cell and also the basic components present in a cell. Okay, so we have to, as an introduction part, we have to study something about the number, size and shape of the cell. First of all, the number of cells. All living organisms are composed of one or more cells. Accordingly, they are grouped into two categories. What are they? Unicellular organisms and multicellular organisms. So, what is this unicellular organism? These are the organisms in which the whole body is made up of a single cell. That single cell is enough to carry out all the living activities such as digestion, respiration, transportation, excretion, etc. All these living activities or life activities, all these are carried out by the single cell itself. That is a unicellular organisms. Can you say examples for that? Yes, amoeba, paramecium, chlamydomonas, bacteria, yeast, etc. All these are the examples for unicellular organisms. Second category, that is a multicellular organisms. These organisms are formed of many cells. A number of cells group together and acquire different functions. Okay, such kind of organisms are called multicellular organisms. Example, human beings, plants, all kind of animals. All kind of plants and animals other than unicellular organisms, all these are coming under the multicellular organisms. The next is the shape, size and number of cells that we already discussed. Shape. Cells differ in shape. The shape of the cells are related to its specific function that they perform. We know that all the cells are now doing the same function. The cells in our hands and cells in our this legs, that is mainly for movement. But the cells in our nervous system, that is the brain, that is mainly for controlling the body activities. Okay, the cells in our blood, that is for transporting the materials. So all the cells are doing different functions. That's why their shape and their size. Their shape and size which may differ based on their function what they perform. Most of the time the unicellular organisms which appears in unicellular organisms body, the cell appears as something or somewhat large than that of this multicellular organisms. Okay, and they are generally ranging from 10 to 100 micrometers. Okay, in some cases or some cells are which are extremely small while some others are extremely large. Okay, we know what is the largest cell that we studied, the egg of an ostrich. Like that, the smallest cell that is the cell of a bacteria. The shape of the cells also show extreme variations are there. Some cells are round like that of the blood cell and the other kind of cells. All these are the round shape, while some others are oval shaped. Some are elongated, spindle shaped cells. We can see the muscle cells, they are spindle shaped, and some kind of bone cells, they are round and branched, and some others are column shaped, then vase shaped, and also branched, cuboidal, discoidal, etc. The nerve cell is the highly branched and modified cell in our body. Okay, so based on the function they perform, their size and shape also vary. Okay, then the discovery behind the cell. We know that the story behind the discovery of cell. Was that scientist who discovered the cell? Yes, that is a Robert Hooke, one English scientist. In 1665 he discovered the cell for the first time. So at that time there was no improved microscopes and others. By using his self-made microscope, he observed the fine ultrastructure of the cell. But later, by the invention of electron microscope and others, a number of scientists come forward to study the basic ultrastructure of the cell. So, behind the invention of the microscope, the scientist named Anton van Leeuwenhoek. Leeuwenhoek is the scientist who discovered the microscope for the first time, and he observed the cell of bacteria or unicellular organisms for the first time. Then after the invention of this microscope, the scientist named Robert Brown discovered the nucleus of the cell. Then later, the scientist named J.E. Perkinche gave the term protoplasm for the first time. What is protoplasm? Protoplasm is the living content present inside in the cell. Cytoplasm plus nucleus together known as the protoplasm. So the term protoplasm, that is firstly coined by the scientist named J.E. Perkinche. After that, the scientist named M.J. Sleeden suggested that plant body is made up of cell. Then another scientist named T. Schwann suggested that animal body is also made up of cell. These two scientists, M. Sleeden and T. Schwann, together put forward the cell theory. So what is the cell theory? It's nothing, 2 points only they suggested. What are the 2 points? All plants and animals are composed of cell. That is the first point. Second point, the cell is the basic unit of life. These are the 2 points of cell theory. Later, one more scientist named Rudolf Virchow or R. Virchow presented or suggested one more point for the cell theory. What is that cell point? All living cells arise from the pre-existing cells. പഴയ സെൽസിൽ നിന്ന് തന്നെയാണ് പുതിയ സെൽസ് ഉണ്ടാകുന്നത്. ഓക്കെ, സോ ഓൾ ലിവിങ് സെൽസ് ആർ ഒറിജിനേറ്റിംഗ് ഫ്രം ദ പ്രീ എക്സിസ്റ്റിംഗ് സെൽ. ദിസ് ഇസ് എ പോയിന്റ് ഗിവൺ ബൈ ദ സയൻറ്റിസ്റ്റ് നെയ്മഡ് R. Virchow. So these are the details regarding the scientists, they worked behind the invention of the cell. So from next class onwards, we will study the basic structure of the cell or the ultra structure of the cell. Okay, thank you.